now joined by McKinney North Shawn Brasher, the head coach of the wrestling program, and it was a great state tournament for your team. You're able to get 10 wrestlers, 2 states, 7 and 3 alternates competing there, and this is the most you've ever had in program history.
Absolutely. The most up to that point, we'd sent Brett Davis and Ryan Benoit, and I think that was probably 8 years ago. Usually we're lucky to get 1 through to the state tournament, but like you said, this year we had 7 qualifiers and 3 alternates, so it was a great year for us.
We were talking earlier with Dave Clayton of Boyd about Alex Miner being in the state tournament. He ended up being the state champion, but they had to focus on 1 wrestler only because 1 wrestler from Boyd got there. You had 7 to 10 guys that you had to focus on, and you had the afternoon slot for the tournament, so in the morning you got to help maintain weight.
Absolutely, and keep them focused. There were times that we weren't expected to be at the tournament till 2 o'clock, so they had to stay focused and maintain their weight. And it was a great problem to have, though, having 10 guys there, and I hope we have that same problem again next year.
Another good problem that your team has is that you're so deep with several wrestlers, in similar weight classes that, you have great competition for everybody to try and take that 1 weight class for themselves so they can be that representative for the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. They're all pretty close in as far as technique and their quality of wrestling, but unfortunately, we were 2 or 3 deep at certain weight classes, and so what we're hoping will happen naturally through, between this now and next year is we can spread those guys out a little bit and maybe be a little bit better dual team and fill up some of those weight classes and just distribute our guys a little bit better.
Travis Quarterman was your top performer at the state tournament and ended up finishing in 5th place, and he really had to battle not only his opponents but his own injuries and sickness throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet for Travis. He's clearly upset. We were expecting to be in the finals, if not take the whole thing. Unfortunately, I think as a team, we peaked at the regional tournament. A lot of them, their goal was to make it to the state tournament, and they accomplished that. But by the time we got to the state tournament, we had a lot of injuries. And not to make excuses, but some of the kids wrestled their best matches, and I'm very proud of them. And some of them had a few more steps to go. But Travis, unfortunately, he had some injuries to his thumbs, and he just happened to also be sick that week. And not to make excuses, but you got to step up and do what you can do on that day, and he did. He tried to put it behind him and get out there, but unfortunately it just wasn't our weekend. And hopefully next year we'll take that state title.
Always tough for the wrestlers, 16 in each weight class there at the state championships. Always tough to get out of that first round match. Chandler Dern was another one of your wrestlers that did get out of that first match and won, and was able to go a little bit deeper in the tournament than some of your others on the team.
Absolutely. Chandler Duran and Rustin Travis, 2 of the guys, I thought their goal was to make it to the state tournament. I thought that was an excellent goal, but they improved throughout the year, and they won a couple of matches at the state tournament. So I'm very pleased with them. Chandler's just a junior, so we'll have him back. And Rustin is only a freshman, so we're very excited about what they can do next year as well.
And you mentioned to me earlier, you have no seniors on this entire program, so what does that do for you, seeing, this year maybe was the year that you got this goal to get to state championship, and you did that. Now they can improve their goals.
Absolutely. Not a single senior on the entire starting lineup. We're getting every one of those 10 guys back, plus a couple of my guys that were injured and unfortunately didn't get to make it to the tournament, which I think they will. So we're very excited about next year. They're very excited. We gained a lot of experience at the tournament. Some of them had those bright eyes as soon as they got there and saw the quality, but I think they also realized at the same time, with a little bit more effort and hard work and getting after it this summer, that there's definitely a chance that we can get a lot of guys in the medal rounds next year.
Who are some of the younger guys on the team that you're really looking forward to next year, improving even more, besides the juniors that have already had the majority of the experience, the ones that have just been fresh?
Yeah, that's hard to say, because I'm really excited about the team we have right now and the kids coming up. But of course, like I mentioned, we got Rustin Travis, who's doing an outstanding job. Another first-year wrestler who didn't make it to the lineup this year, but it's just looking tremendous, is Austin Ruff. He's doing a great job for us. He had a little bit of mixed martial arts experience, and it kind of went over into this style of wrestling, and so he had a great year. Isaac Cruz was a first-year wrestler. He just decided to come out this year, and he made it to the state tournament as an alternate. So You know, there's lots of guys in our lineup. The guys that we've had in our lineup are continuing to improve. Alex Chapa, Chandler Duran, just lots of those guys are working hard, and they're really excited, and I'm really excited.
You mentioned mixed martial arts, and also, those type of events, the UFC, the MMA stuff that is going on, has really jumped in popularity among the younger kids, especially. And wrestling is really a sport that they can use to help train with that, if that's kind of their goal.
Absolutely. And we have one of our past wrestlers, Ryan Benoit, who's so close. He's doing that mixed martial arts, and I think he's 1 or 2 matches away from maybe going into the UFC. So we're really pulling for him. But absolutely, some of your better fighters in the UFC have had a base, or at least wrestled at some point in their career.
And wrestling is really a sport, away from the MMA, that's a little bit less violent, because you're not, trying to strike an opponent. You're just trying to take him down.
Absolutely. In fact, it's one of the safest sports out there, according to sports medicine. Cheerleading and golf, according to the data, has more injuries than we do. So it's a very safe sport. Now, not to say that something can't happen, which can happen in any sport that you participate in, but it's a relatively safe sport that most people really don't realize, because of when they see it, they look at the brutality.
And they're trying to take it out of the Olympics, and wrestling has been, maybe one of the sports that you associate with the Olympics throughout history, and they're trying to drop it right now from the Olympics in the future. What do you make of all that, and can wrestling stay in the Olympics?
I don't know what to think about it. My jaw's still on the ground from that. I'm trying to pick it up. I don't know if they're necessarily trying to take it out. I think somebody just made a mistake somewhere. I think they're trying to regroup. I really don't see how they could take it out, or why, because it's one of those sports that it's offered for both genders, for male and females. I think other than maybe track, more countries participate in that sport than any other sport at the Olympics. Maybe 1 or 2 others I'm not aware of, but it's just rich and deep in history and tradition of the Olympics, and I'm really shocked, and I hope they get that fixed real quick.
And it's not one of the newer sports that have been created, that have been put in the Olympics. It's been there since the beginning of time, for all we know.
Absolutely. And one of the problems is, I think majority of people may not understand the sport. And if you're new to the sport, at first when you look at it, it is kind of confusing. But I think if we need to do a better job of educating people about our sport, how it's scored, and I think if we do that, I think we'd have a lot more fans out there.
And Coach, back to your team to finish up, what do you think is your main goal, from now to the start of next season, to get your players prepared to have the best year possible?
Well, we've just got to get in there, not waste any time. A lot of our kids have reached that level, and they've got to step it up a notch. There's levels, of gain, and we're right there at that state level. And a lot of those kids realize that they know what they need to do. They're excited about getting it done, and they're working hard on accomplishing that right now.
It was a great season for McKinney North in wrestling. Coach Brasher, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For McKinney North, they reached their goal this year. They got several wrestlers to the state tournament. Now next year, their goals is going to have to be a little bit higher. They're going to try and win some of those state championships, and certainly they have the team to do so. A big thanks to all 3 MISD wrestling coaches for dropping by on today's show. Congratulations to all of the wrestling participants on a great season. What might be becoming a theme here on Sports Talk, we have another soccer playoff update. The fantastic run of the North Lady Bulldogs finally came to an end last week in a heartbreaking loss to Briscoe Liberty in penalty kick. Congratulations to North, though, on their 2 playoff wins and a sectional appearance. The Boyd girls team also were eliminated in a tough 3-2 loss to Saxe in the second round. However, we do have some good news. Boyd boys soccer team defeated Mesquite Horn 3-0 to set up a third-round playoff rematch from a year ago with Jesuits. The date and time is to be determined. Also, both McKinney Lions soccer teams are through to the third round. The boys beat Longview 1-0 and play North Mesquite at Rompo Stadium this Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And the girls beat Horn 1-0 and play Saxe on Tuesday at 6 in Wiley. For everyone here at Sports Talk, I'm Tyler Sloan. Have a great week.